Welcome to the lecture series of compound interest. In our first class, we have already seen the important formulae of compound interest. In the second class, we have solved a few problem sums based on that, and there we solved every problem in detail without applying the formula directly. In today's class and in the next class, we will be solving again a few problem sums, but this time we will be solving directly by applying those formulae, so that will save our time. So let's get started. The first problem sum says that Rekha purchased a house from a builder on credit. If the cost of the house is rupees 64 lakhs and the rate of interest is 5% per annum compounded half yearly, find the interest paid by Rekha after 1.5 years. Now if we solve this problem sum in detail, then we have to simplify or solve in 3 steps. In every step, what we will do is we will find the interest amount for 6 months. Then after 6 months, whatever interest will be accumulated, that will be added with the previous principal amount, and that will give us the revised principal amount. And based on that principal, we will be again we will be calculating the interest for the next 6 months, and this way again for the next 6 months. So if you do that, if we go by that, then it will take time. That we have seen already in our last class. But since we already know the straightforward those formulae, so we will be applying them. Now what we have to finally find is the total interest, means compound interest paid by Rekha after 1.5 years. And what are the information given to us? The principal amount, which is rupees 64 lakh, and we will assume that Rekha purchased that house from the builder since it is on credit, and it is on full credit, means the total amount or total price of that house, which is 64 lakhs, she took that amount as a loan, maybe from the bank. So this is the total principal amount, initial principal amount, which is 64 lakhs, and the rate of interest, which is 5% per annum, that is given. And it is another information which is given, the interest is compounded half yearly, and we have to find the total interest paid by Rekha after 1.5 years. So the total time period also given, which is 1.5 years. Now we know this formula, that the amount, the revised amount after a certain period of time is, this is the formula where we know P is the principal amount or the initial principal amount, then R is the rate of interest, N is the total time period, and K is the parameter which signifies that how many times in a year we are paying that interest. So here, as per this problem sum, our principal amount P is 64 lakhs, the rate of interest R is 5%, means 5, and n is the total time period, which is 1.5 years, means 3/2 years, and K is the frequency of paying interest in a year. So since this is the interest is compounded half yearly means in a year we are paying that interest twice. So the value of K for this problem sum will be 2. And this is the formula of total compound interest. CI stands for compound interest, and all these notations have their usual meaning. So what we will do is, since we want to find the total compound interest amount, so we will use this formula, and we will put all the information, all the values that we know into this formula, and then directly we will find the total compound interest. So we know the P is the initial principal amount, which is 64 lakhs. So 64000, then 2 more zeros, that is the principal amount, and definitely that is in rupees. And the compound interest that we will be finding out, that will be also in rupees. Now let's put other values. So as per the formula, it is 1 plus then R is the rate of interest, so that value is 5, and then 5 divided by 100, and K is how many times we are paying that interest in a year, since half yearly, so in a year twice, so value of K is 2 for our problem sum. And then N is what, 1.5 years, so that means here it will be 3/2, and then K is also 2, so 3/2 multiplied by 2, and then we have -1, and this completes the formula. And since we are finding after 1.5 years, and in every 6 months we are paying the interest, that means in 1.5 years time frame, how many times we are paying the interest? 3 6 months, then 12 months, then at the end of 18 months. And that's why when we will be simplifying this power, it will be 3. So remember that the multiplication of nk, that gives us the information that how many times we are paying that interest in that total time frame. So if we simplify further, then it will be 1 plus 5 divided by 200, then it will be q, then minus 1, and then this much. 5 divided by 200 will be 0.025, and with that if we add 1, then it will be 1.025, then cube of that, and then minus 1. So if we simplify further, then it will be 64, then 5 zeros, and if we simplify this value, then it will give us 0.07689, and if we multiply this to value, then that value will be 492100. So this is the total compound interest that Rekha will pay to that builder after 1.5 years. So we have here directly used the formula, otherwise we would have solved this problem in 3 steps and that would have taken much more time. Now the next problem sum says that Rana borrowed rupees 15625 from a finance company to buy a scooter. If the rate of interest be 16% per annum compounded annually this time, what payment will he have to pay after 2 and 1/4 years? So what are the information given is he borrowed rupees 15625. So this is the principal amount that we will use to simplify this problem. Then the rate of interest is 16% per annum, and that interest is compounded annually. So that is another important information. And then what payment will he will have to pay after 2 and 1/4 years. So this is the total time period. So the formula that we know when we calculate compound interest, and that is compounded annually, and also the time is not integer, rather it is a fraction. So we have seen that formula, and here this is the amount, this is the revised principal amount based on the compound interest, and this formula we are already familiar with, and these notations have the usual meaning. Now the formula that we will be using to simplify particularly this problem will be this, and that we already have seen in our first class. Now here P is the principal amount, which is 15625, R is the rate of interest, which is 16. Then here we have splitted this formula into two parts. In the first part, in the first factor has 1 plus r divided by 100, and power is n here, and that is because we are here the interest is compounded annually, and the total time period is 2 and 1/4 or 1/4 years. So if the total time we split, or we see this way, that first we are paying the interest for 2 years, and that interest is compounded annually, and then for 1/4 year, means for first quarter or first 3 months. So when we are paying, or we are calculating the compound interest for 2 years, and that interest is compounded annually, then value of k will be what? Value of k is here that how many times we are paying that interest in a year. So in a year we are paying only one. So value of k for first 2 years will be 1, and value of n will be how much? Value of n will be 2. 2 years, so 2. And here also value of k will be 1. That's why in the first factor, in the first part of the formula, it is 1 plus r divided by 100, because k is 1, and here only n, though the value of 2 that we will put later, and the value of k is 1. Now after 2 years, when we will be calculating that compound interest for next quarter, for next 3 months or 1/4 year, then we will assume, or we will think this way, that as if the formula is this, and there the value of n is what? The total time period. The total time period is 1/4 year, and the value of k is what? How many times we are paying that interest. So if quarterly we are paying that interest, or that interest is compounded quarterly, then how many times we need to pay? First quarter, second, third, fourth. That means in a year we need to pay 4 times. That means the value of k will be 4 if we further continue, but we are stopping after the first quarter. But still we have to take, or we can think this way, that the value of k is 4 if we continue further, and the value of n, the total time period, is also 1 quarter, that is 1/4. So if we multiply this two value, then it will be 1/4 multiplied by 4, and that will be 1 only. And here r by 100 k. So k is what? K is 4. That's why it is here we are keeping the k here, and in place of nk we are putting straightforward 1. That's why the second part has been modified this way. Now if we put the real values of all those information, then the revised amount after 2 and 1/4 years will be, here the P, the total principal amount is 15625. Then as for the formula, then it is 1 plus rate of interest is 16. So it will be 16 divided by 100. Then power is n. N is what? 2 years. 2 complete years. So it will be 2. Then in the second part is it will be 1 plus again the rate of interest is 16 and 100 and the value of k is 4. As I said that this is quarterly we are calculating for the second part. So it will be 15625 and then 1 plus it will be 0.16, so 1.16, then square of that, and here it will be 1 plus 16 by 4, it will be 4, and 4 divided by 100 it will be 0.04. That means we can say 15625, and if we simplify further, then 1.16, if we take the square value, then it will be 1.3456, and then we will multiply by 1.04, right? 1 plus 0.04, so that will be 1.04, and if we simplify further, then the whole amount will be rupees 21866. So this is how we simplify this type of problem sum. Now the next problem sum says that find the compound interest at the rate of 5% per annum for 3 years on that principal, which in 3 years at the rate of 5%, same rate of interest per annum, gives rupees 12,000 as simple interest. We have already solved this type of problem sum in our previous class, but this time we will be solving this by using directly the formula. So one part of this problem is based on simple interest and the other part is based on compound interest, and we will be simplifying separately. So let's proceed with simple interest first. This is the formula of the total simple interest, where P is the principal amount, R is the rate of interest, then N is the total time period. Here for simple interest, what are the information is given is the P is not known to us. Simple interest, that value is given, which is 12,000. R, the rate of interest is given, which is 5%. And the total time period, which is 3 years, that is given. So what we will find from this formula is the principal amount. So P will be then simple interest multiplied by 100. Simple interest, the total amount is 12,000. So 12,000 then multiplied by 100 and then divided by Rn. R is the rate of interest, which is 5, and the total time period is 3 years. This will give us rupees 4208, and then we have 4 zeros. So that means this is the principal amount. So 80,000 is the principal amount. Now based on that principal amount, we will find the compound interest, and that will be again based on formula. And this is the formula of total compound interest, where P is the principal amount that we have obtained here as 18 rupees 80,000, and then R, the same rate of interest, which is 5%, 5. N is the total time period, which is 3, and then we can easily do that. So total compound interest, then it will be, and it will be 80,000 and then 5 divided by 100, so 0.05, and 0.05, with that if we add 1, then 1.05, then Q, and then minus 1. So if we simplify further, it will be 80,000 multiplied by 0.157625, and if we simplify further, then it will be rupees 12,610. Now the next problem sum is about a sum of money which was lent for 2 years at 20% compounded annually. If the interest is payable half yearly instead of yearly, means if the interest is compounded half yearly after every 6 months instead of after 1 year, then the interest is rupees 4820 more. Find the principal amount. So here the principal amount is not known, but there are many other information which is given, and based on that we can simplify this problem sum and we can find the principal amount. But here again we will be simplifying by using directly the formula. So here this is the formula of compound interest, which is compounded annually. So here we don't have the role of K, that parameter. So the total compound interest now, if we find, then it will be the principal amount is how much. Principal amount is not known, so we'll keep or we'll assume that as P, and then 1 plus rate of interest is what? Rate of interest is 20%, so it will be 20 divided by 100, and then total time period is what? Total time period is 2 years. So in place of n we will be writing 2, and then we will be simplifying. Now P, and then 20 divided by 100, so it will be 0.2, and 1 plus zero point 0.2, so it will be 1.2, and then square of that, and then minus 1. So if we simplify further, then this 1.2, so it will be 1.44, minus 1 means 0.44, so it will be 0.44, and then P. Now what we are doing here, first we are compounding that interest annually at the rate of 20%, and then after 2 years we have already found the interest amount. This is 0.44 P. If the P is known, then we can find the compound interest amount. And in the second stage, what we are doing, instead of compounded annually, we are compounding half yearly, means after every 6 months. So for that we will be using this formula. This is again the formula of compound interest, but we are using this parameter K. So when it is compounded half yearly, that means in a year we pay the interest twice. So the value of K for this particular problem will be how much? It will be 2. Now again, but all other information, P, the rate of interest, N, they remain same. So P we don't know, that will keep as it is, because we are not changing the principal amount, so it will be P only. Then 1 plus rate of interest, again same, so that will be 20 divided by 100, and half yearly, so value of K is 2, and then NK. N value is 2 and the value of K is also 2, and then minus 1. So if we simplify further, then it will be, and if we simplify further, then 1.1 and to the power 4, and then minus 1, that gives us 0.4641, and we have this value P. So this is the total compound interest when that interest is compounded half yearly, and this is the compound interest when that is compounded annually. And definitely as we increase the frequency of compounding the interest, the total compound interest will be more. So when we are compounding half yearly, means after every 6 months we are paying the interest, definitely at the end the total interest amount will be more. So this will be more than this. And what other information is given, that the interest is 4820 more. That means if we subtract this amount from this amount, then that will be 4820. So if we simplify further, then it will be 0.0241 P, and that is 4820. Now if we divide 4820 by 0.0241, then that value will be 20, and then 1 2 3 4 zeros, and this much rupees. So this is how we can directly use all the important formulae that we know for compound interest. In our next class also we will be solving a few more problem sums based on compound interest and by using the formula directly. I hope this class was interesting and meaningful for you. See you in the next class. Thank you.